From the hustle and bustle of the city to the stunning landscapes of the Highlands, this is our 10-hour trip from London to Edinburgh. Together we'll be taking you through the route we took, places we stopped at, and some of the things we did in Scotland. So without further ado, let's get into it. We started the day at around 5 a.m. to get a head start, and also since there was a little learning curve with the driving on the left side and the absurd amount of infamous British roundabouts. Our first stop was at around 8 a.m. at a service station near Leicester. We grabbed some food for breakfast and headed to Peak District National Park. Our plan was to simply drive through it, catching some of the scenery that the park had to offer, and as such we passed through the winding roads of Snake Pass. This was our first sight of the hilly landscapes of the UK, and we weren't even in Scotland yet. And after a couple more stops to take some photos, we got back on the road. About 2 hours of driving later, we stopped at Lake District National Park, known as one of the best parks in all of the United Kingdom. It is a mix of wild beauty and cozy countryside, and imagine huge mountains shaped by glaciers, sparkling lakes, and rolling hills dotted with hundreds of sheep. For this section of the drive, within the tourist town area of the park, the sides of the roads are shaped by stone walls that extend into fields dividing the paddocks. The roads are very narrow, and as such, it is quite difficult to find a place to park or stop. However, outside of the heart, the roads are slightly wider and has a shoulder to stop if the need arises. I should also mention that buses run along these interior roads with access points to trailheads along the highways. After a much needed break, we continued on our way to Edinburgh. With just 3 hours left, we were determined to finish the drive, and we arrived at around 6 p.m, so we just grabbed some dinner and checked into our hotel for the night. We started the next day early, not as early as the day before, but at around 9 a.m. we were out and about. We walked pretty much the entirety of the day, with our first stop being the Edinburgh waterfront, also known as the Leith. This historic site was the forefront of Scottish trading in the 18th century and is typically called one of the coolest neighborhoods in the entire world. You can explore the Royal Yacht Britannia, which you could see the ship that sailed the sea with the royal family on board for over 40 years, or go on a peaceful walk along the walk of the Leith Walkway. There are several boutique restaurants that you could also check out. However, we had a lot to do on our list, so after spending some time enjoying the fresh ocean air, we headed towards the middle of the city. Our next stop was Edinburgh Castle. Set in the heart of Scotland's dynamic capital, it's sure to capture your imagination as a part of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The scenery will take your breath away. Perched on a volcanic rock, it witnessed many battles and revolutions. One of the most famous residents was James IV, a king known for his love of learning and the arts. His reign ended tragically on the battlefield, but his legacy lives on in the castle. We spent around 2 hours here and hiked down the hill towards Victoria Street. You've probably seen photos of these colorful buildings on the internet, and Victoria Street is home to this. This picturesque winding cobblestone lane is one of Edinburgh's most iconic thoroughfares. Named after Queen Victoria, it exudes a timeless charm that resonates with both locals and visitors. This street showcases Edinburgh's architectural diversity and has the colorful facades of the unique shops. On this street is also a fish and chip place which we highly recommend checking out, Birdie's Fish and Chips. The service and food is really good and very reasonably priced, so what more could you ask for? After our late lunch, we walked along the Royal Mile, stopping at some shops, and what's a visit to Scotland without checking out the Scottish whiskey? The Royal Mile was one of the stores that we stopped at with an insane collection. They also offer shipping worldwide to save you time at the airport. After about an hour or so of strolling, we slowly made our way towards Arthur's Seat. This has a fabulous view of the entire city in all directions, and an extensive parkland surrounding it, and it's a great retreat from the busy city. We made it just in time for the sunset, which was a perfect way to end off our day. The following day, we began bright and early to head towards the Highlands of Scotland, more specifically towards Loch Lomond National Park. We planned our route with several stops along the way, with our first stop being the Kelpies located on the M9 motorway. This pair of monumental steel horses' heads has a significance in Scottish folklore, being dangerous shape-shifting water creatures that can appear on land as a horse. There is a small parking fee to enter the park, however there is a parking lot located about a kilometer from the horses, which is still within the park, which you could park for free and walk along some trails to the main attraction. Our next stop was Stirling Castle, which was one of the largest and most historically and architecturally important castles in all of Scotland. It has served as a royal residence for countless monarchs, including the coronation site for infant Mary's Queen of Scots. The castle's strategic importance made it a focal point in wars of Scottish independence, enduring sieges from both Scottish and English forces. You could get an amazing panoramic view of the Scottish landscapes and the Wallace Monument as well. After that quick stop, we finally made it to Loch Lomond. To get the full experience, we decided to do a 4-kilometer hike, which took around 2 hours along the Conic Hill Trail. And let's just say this trail was absolutely beautiful and definitely worth it. By the time we got back down from the mountain, it was already the evening, so we packed up and headed back to Edinburgh for the night. Our route back was the opposite of the side that we came from, and we decided to go back to London along the east coast. We had one stop planned along the way, and it was Bamburgh Castle or Bamburgh Castle. We wanted to see this in person after watching the series The Last Kingdom, and let's just say it's even more spectacular than we anticipated. The castle gates open at 9 AM, so we weren't able to go inside, but when we were trying to find a way around to the beach, we came across a herd of Highland cows, or Hieland Coo as the locals say it. And that was when we knew our trip was complete. We officially saw everything that we wanted to see in Scotland. And with that being said, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.